You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. This is a special report, a special edition of the podcast. And, you know, it's Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be off, we thought, for the podcast until the week started. And I just looked at my phone and saw that Nancy Pelosi's husband has been arrested. And I said, Kathy, we're doing a podcast.
So much for a vacation.
Well, hey,
Brian never stops working. Do you guys understand? I can't get a day off.
Listen, the only thing better than Pelosi's husband getting arrested is if Nancy herself was arrested.
True.
So let's go through this.
She doesn't drive.
Yeah, well, let me tell people. I didn't tell people he got arrested.
Drivers.
I didn't tell people what he got arrested for, Kathy. And so Nancy Pelosi's millionaire husband, Paul, age 82, is arrested for DUI in Napa Valley near the couple's vineyard. Oh, well, excuse me. They have a vineyard.
I knew that. I guess he was sampling the wine that was coming out of the barrels there.
Yeah. Paul Pelosi was booked on 2 counts of the incident in Napa, California, shortly before midnight last night. I hope that there is some police body cam footage of this, because I can see this guy.
Yes.
Do you know who I am? Right?
Yeah.
I can see that
I would
whole
love to see that.
thing. He was arrested by members of the California Highway Patrol, Ponch and John. That's right.
CHP.
At 11:44 p.m.
Were they on motorcycles?
I don't know. He was booked in Napa County's jail at 4:13 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
The question is this. Who was his first phone call to?
Yeah. Well, this is interesting. So was he put in a jail cell with the peasants? Remember her talking about eating with the peasants?
He might go up in flames.
He likes to dine like around 10, and she likes to eat early with the peasants, he says. Can you imagine him going into a jail cell?
No, I can't imagine that happening.
The 2 misdemeanor charges are driving under the influence and driving with a blood alcohol content level of 0.08 or higher. He's believed to have been released after posting $5,000 bail, which he probably had in his pocket. Nancy,
that's a hefty bail.
Nancy, not really, $5,000 for this? Nancy has not yet commented on the arrest. She made no mention of it while giving a commencement speech to graduating students at Brown University Sunday. Well,
Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe they live separate lives.
I don't expect her to mention it during the commencement speech, but if this were the husband of any Republican, like if this was Kevin McCarthy's wife, the media would be all over this. Or Rand Paul's wife.
Because it's a liberal, it's no big deal.
Democrats.
I mean, he's drinking. He could have killed somebody driving on the road. Trump has zero tolerance for drinking. And I remember Khloe Kardashian. Remember she was on The Apprentice? And I like Khloe Kardashian. He found out she had a DUI in the past, and he fired her on the spot. He said, I do not tolerate drinking and driving. That's a big thing with him.
Yeah.
Clearly, Nancy tolerates it.
The Pelosi's own a vineyard in Napa, in addition to a home in nearby San Francisco. But she does not drink. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Give me a break.
We all know that's not true.
According to previous statements given by her representatives.
You gotta laugh.
The sprawling estate is one of many the couple owns. Neighbors were unaware of Paul's arrest. One vineyard owner who lives nearby said the couple often block the road with their convoy of blacked-out SUVs when they come to town, but they didn't see anything like that this weekend.
Wait a minute. They're into green stuff, and they drive SUVs. They don't drive Teslas.
I guess not.
Or Priuses.
Yeah, but course. Nancy wasn't with him. He was alone right before midnight. Or at least, you better hope he was alone. Some suggested Paul Pelosi might have been attending the Bottle Rocks Festival, which Snoop Dogg was playing at this weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
You see, Snoop Dogg's playing at Napa Valley Pelosi things?
Shows you what a sellout he is.
I know.
He's hanging out with Martha Stewart.
What would Tupac say?
Doing concerts in Martha's Vineyard. In Napa Valley, oh my gosh.
It probably tracks more with the younger Paul, the neighbor said, referencing the couple's 53-year-old son, Paul Pelosi Jr. I wouldn't be going to the kinds of fundraisers and parties they go to. I don't like them very much or find them very interesting, the vineyard owner said. The property of theirs sits on the banks of the Napa River and features a tennis court. Neighboring vineyards have told in the past how the couple throws lavish parties for Silicon Valley executives. He's raked in millions through investments in tech companies, Pelosi's husband. The couple's vineyard is not open to the public, but they made wine from it, which they do sell. So you can buy Pelosi wine.
He's a true man of the people.
The California Highway Patrol has not issued any public information statement about the arrest of Pelosi's husband. Pelosi previously faced criticism over her husband's profiteering on tech stocks at a time when their security was being debated by the House. It goes into some details about that and his stock purchases and not. That's it on the trunk. Yeah, I mean, this guy, it doesn't seem to me. Because she was out here on the East Coast. He's out there. It seems to me, this is just me. You guys listening can let us know your thoughts. It seems odd to me that a man is 82 years old and he's out driving alone
and drinking
at late night parties. I would be.
Why doesn't he have a chauffeur and
like she does
and go around if he's going to go get wasted? Why doesn't he have Jeeves go and drive
because
him to and fro?
Well,
why it's interesting why he's driving himself.
We don't know. Okay, so this is just all speculation, but there's a very good chance he was not alone in the car. There's not a lot of details. I want to know if he was alone in the car, and if he wasn't, who else was in there, and how old are they, and what's their gender? I want to know.
Yeah,
it just seems this could be. This could be the beginning of something very interesting.
Okay, what time did he get arrested? It said
12:45 last night,
and he wasn't processed till 4 a.m. So what the hell? It
takes a while.
Okay,
it takes a while. They got to take you there. They got to book you and everything else. And,
so he was headed home.
His calls.
Apparently, he was headed home.
Yes, to their Napa Valley vineyard.
Yeah, to one of their many.
Oh
homes.
my goodness!
And
what a life!
Yeah.
A life dedicated to public service.
Yes. And drinking.
How do you acquire such wealth with a life of dedication to public service?
Well, her husband can make money. That's okay. I mean, she could, they have Trump is rich. Of course,
he makes money through insider trading that she sets up.
Exactly. They're all crooked.
He's not like some big business guy who's got a nose like Gordon. That she has an insider trading racket with him going on.
She has quite a racket going on.
Yeah. Now, Memorial Day is, of course, this is Memorial Day weekend. And those of you outside of the United States, Memorial Day is one of the biggest holiday weekends in America. And for those that are outside of the United States, you may not know what Memorial Day is. So I'll tell you, Memorial Day is when we remember soldiers and airmen and sailors, service personnel who have died for their country. Okay. Now you don't have to be you can, we also honor veterans who lived ripe old ages too, but it's when we remember those service personnel who have lost their lives. And we also have Veterans Day, which is for the living. This is for those who are no longer with us. Memorial Day.
It kind of kicks off summer here in the States, and it's when you have to stop wearing white. Oh no, that's after Labor Day.
Yeah,
so when you can start wearing white again.
What are you, the Pelosi's at Napa Valley?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm white after Labor Day. I mean, now you can wear white again.
I wear whatever's clean, hanging in the closet.
In Florida, we wear white all the time, but all year round because it's summer here. But it is the kickoff of the summer season in Florida, in the States. I would think because that's all the kids are out of school. And that's when summertime begins, and then Labor Day, it's now back to school.
Well, let me tell you, and it fits in with the arrest of Nancy Pelosi's husband has been arrested, which I love saying.
It's fun to say.
Memorial Day is the weekend with the most drunken driving arrests and accidents.
True.
This is the most dangerous day to be on the road, is the entire Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend is always a 3-day weekend, and a whole chunk of people take Friday off and make it a 4-day weekend.
That's true.
And Monday,
a lot of DUIs.
Monday, Memorial Day is a rough day, because I'm on the air. I work on many Memorial Days, and I've seen some bad and deadly accidents on my way into the radio station because people are coming home from these 4 and 5 a.m. bars. And I've seen some terrible accidents with dead people in the cars on my way to the radio station on Memorial Day. So if you don't have to be on the road, don't.
To me, people who drink and drive are extremely selfish people. because
like Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Right. When you drink and get in a car, your car becomes a weapon automatically because you're impaired. You're a menace on the road. You have a much greater chance of killing someone. And when you are drinking, it's it's against the law for a reason. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
And some people might be like, it's no big deal. It's a very, very big deal. Because so many people are killed by drunk drivers every year in this country and everywhere around the world. It's horrible to do, to get in your car. Very irresponsible to do that. When you've had too much to drink. I mean, we've all been there. When you're not supposed to be driving. Now, I guess some people can say that they drank so much they blacked out and don't remember. I don't know. What's a 0.8 alcohol level? Whatever you had, 0.08
I don't know.
or whatever. I don't know the scale.
I don't worry about those things. I just don't drink and drive. That's then I don't
I'm
have
wondering
to worry.
how drunk he was, like on that
Paul
scale.
Pelosi? If he got pulled over, he was tanked.
Yeah.
If they arrested him, he was tanked because they knew who he was. So those.
Oh, I'm sure they know him in that town.
If you are a police officer in California, you're probably a Democrat because it's California, and and if you're in Napa Valley, you know who the Pelosi's are. You don't take Nancy Pelosi, who's also related to the governor. The governor is part of the Pelosi family, Governor Newsom. You don't take in Paul Pelosi to jail unless he is really drunk.
Do you think he tried to talk his way out of it? Do you think he pulled pulled the name card and was like, "Do you know who I am?" and this and that.
They knew who he was when they pulled him over. They ran the plate. They knew they knew who he was.
What would you do? Well, that tells me that maybe the cops don't like the Pelosi's. I mean,
that's how drunk he was.
Yeah,
I'm telling you that this guy,
they had to do it.
Had to be so drunk he couldn't stand up, or they would not have arrested the husband of Nancy Pelosi, because between her and Governor Newsom, that could be a career-ending thing for you.
I don't know though. If they were liberals and they really liked the Pelosi's, they might just pull him over and drive him home themselves and let him leave his car on the side of the road and say, "Come get it in the morning, and we'll take you home." You know what I mean? The fact that they arrested him, somebody so powerful, married to somebody so powerful and connected, takes balls for sure, and I think it might say that they don't like the Pelosi's very much because, they could have just taken him home.
Well, to me, this is an important story because not just because Democrats get away with everything and all of that, but because drunken driving is such a deadly thing on Memorial Day. Memorial Day has more drunk drivers than any other holiday, 4th of July or anything. And it's like when I go to the radio station on Memorial Day, I see police officers all over. It's one of the largest police presence. And sometimes when I get off the air and it's like I'm on the road and it's after 9 a.m., it's like 9:30, 9:15, there are police officers still all over the roads because people are still driving around drunk, even at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning on Memorial Day, coming home from the night before.
True. So you're telling me that even though there's a law against drinking and driving, he still broke that law. The law did not deter him from doing that.
That's right.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
These people believe that laws, like gun laws, deter people from committing crimes.
That's right.
How is it possible that Paul Pelosi got in his car drunk when he knows it's against the law?
I guess that criminals don't obey the laws.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I guess, he's a criminal now officially.
That's true.
I'm sure she's totally pissed off.
Oh, yeah, think.
And probably dove into her $14 a pint ice cream to comfort herself. But I would imagine their lives aren't too connected.
If he wasn't alone, oh boy, there's some big trouble.
That'd be juicy.
Oh,
but he was
hope.
headed home, so I don't think he'd bring anybody, who knows, back to it, unless she's not home.
She's not home. She was here on the East Coast. She had this thing in Rhode Island today.
Oh, yeah.
He's out there alone.
I'd love to know how
that's why it was just him. And not, when she's there, that's when they have the whole parade.
Well, he's lucky he didn't hurt anybody because it's a very dangerous thing. Could you imagine if that had happened? Oh, my goodness gracious.
No, drunk driving's awful.
Very bad.
It is awful.
He's very lucky that he didn't hurt anyone.
That's right. That's right. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Everyone has a story to tell. We all experience hardships in life, but how people react to those hardships can determine who they are and their quality of life. The book from author Hannon Safe, Scattered Thoughts, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, is an inspirational book that gathers moving stories of strength and survival. Stories of people whose battles did not define them, but instead propelled them forward to become who they are today. Overcoming tremendous odds to end up being winners in the end. The people whose stories are written about are now happy and wish that you could end up with their results, wanting you to forgive yourself, love yourself, and most importantly, appreciate and know your worth. If you know anyone who could benefit from this book, it makes a great gift. Scattered Thoughts from author Hannon Safe, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Brian Craig here with a huge announcement from the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the MyPillow, Mike Lindell. And MyPillow are now offering a BOGO extravaganza on multiple MyPillow items. Right now at MyPillow.com with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E at checkout, buy one, get free pricing on MyPillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance MyPillows, the 6-piece MyPillow towel set, and the MyPillow Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows, and so much more. Just go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout or call toll-free 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. The BOGO Extravaganza at MyPillow.com with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. And with each purchase for free, you will get a copy of Mike Lindell's autobiography. Call 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. Or go to the radio listener special page at MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. Summertime's right around the corner. Are you ready for your summer vacation in the Great Smoky Mountains? Did you know that the Great Smoky Mountains is the most popular national park? It has everything you and your family are looking for this summer. The Dollywood Theme Park, outdoor rafting, horseback riding, fishing, and that's just the beginning. You can have it all. And there's no better way to enjoy the Great Smoky Mountains than staying in a beautiful sky view log cabin. Imagine waking up with the sunshine shining through the massive glass windows, having your morning coffee on the balcony, and enjoy the natural beauty around you. Walk the trails, mountain biking, there's even a waterfall, and have all the modern amenities too. A private hot tub, fireplace, a pool table, and more. Visit SkyViewVacation.com and book your accommodations right now. SkyViewVacation.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is something. Listen to this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott booed by a crowd in Uvalde, Texas, where the recent school shooting was, as he, Biden, and First Lady Jill arrive at the memorial to 19 children and 2 teachers slain in the massacre. Okay, I don't know how much to make of that booing of Governor Greg Abbott there. I mean, you've got Biden there. So there's a lot of Democrats there. Everyone agrees what happened in Uvalde was a tragedy. I mean, come on, 19 kids have been killed. There are many others that are wounded, and hopefully no more loss of life occurs. We don't really know the updates on the conditions of those that went to the hospital. A lot of information has come out. I did a live stream on YouTube Saturday morning and went through a lot of details. And one of the most disturbing things that came out was the police chief of the school police, which is a police department of 4, and the 4 includes the chief himself. So he's got 2 officers, a detective, and him. This guy that is in charge of a police department of 4 people, which includes himself, took charge on the scene and gave orders not to go into the classroom. And 19 police officers.
Who put him in charge?
He's the chief of the school district. It's his turf, and he took command. And he ordered them not to go in, and they were out there for around about an hour while people inside, students that passed, were calling 911 for help, and he didn't go in. And we don't know how many more died because of that inaction. So I did find one thing out, which we talked about on Friday's show about Texas, that I did not know and that I don't agree with. There's no waiting period for gun purchases in Texas, that you go into the store, you buy your rifle, and you walk out with it. Here in Florida, there's a 5-day waiting period, and that's 5 business days. So as we're doing this show, it is Sunday. If I went to a gun store today, tomorrow's a holiday, I wouldn't be able to make delivery on my gun that I bought today for 8, maybe 9 days, because if it's a holiday and today's Sunday, it's 5 business days. I don't think it's a good idea to not have a waiting period, okay? And Texas, I just learned this on Friday, does not have a waiting period. And before you guys give me a hard time about that, the reason that there are waiting periods, they can do the criminal background check pretty quick. Sometimes if you go to a gun show on the weekends, they'll tell you the background checks are held up. If you have a concealed weapons permit in Florida, you take immediate delivery of your weapon. Okay, there's no waiting period. I don't have a concealed weapons permit. I got to wait the 5 days. And I've heard guys with their weapons permits, they got to wait around for an hour or two because the system's backed up doing background checks. But I know a background check can be done pretty quick, sometimes instantly. But the reason that you have a 5-day waiting period, it's a cooling off period. So someone doesn't get pissed off and go and buy a gun and does something after an argument. That 5 days, now 5 days doesn't solve everything. I get it. But the idea that I can walk into a gun store and walk out with a gun on the same day, I don't support that. And some of you may call me liberal because of that. I'm no liberal. But that doesn't seem smart. But that's not what happened here, and that had nothing to do with the shooting. If he had to wait 10 days, 5 days, or no days, the result would have been the same. But what we're finding out now is there's a compounded problem, and that is the inaction of the police. And what I'm calling for is the immediate termination, not just of that police chief, but those 19 officers fired on the spot. On YouTube on Saturday, I told a story that was about an officer that we saw something happen to about 15 years ago or so, 15, 17 years ago. We had a major hurricane that hit us here in South Florida. It was close to 20 years ago. We have hurricanes every few years, but this particular moment was about 15 to 17 years ago. I can't remember which hurricane it was. But it's when we first moved into the house we're in now.
It was Wilma.
Hurricane Wilma.
Yeah.
Okay, the house we live in now, we have hurricane shutters and hurricane glass, but we had just moved into this house, and we did not have hurricane shutters or hurricane glass then, and the hurricane was coming, so we went to Kathy's mother's house. There was a police officer across the street, and he would not report to duty during the hurricane. He stayed home with his girlfriend. Yeah. The police chief and the sergeant and his sergeant during the hurricane came to the house, fired him. They brought with them a tow truck.
Yeah, we saw this happen.
And they towed away his police cruiser during the hurricane because, boom, that was it. You know, there's a hurricane. You're a first responder. You show up. Not just the chief. Those 19 officers should all be terminated without question immediately. And, this crowd booing Governor Greg Abbott, I don't know if that was real or Democrat activists that were there because Biden was there and the DNC brought activists in. I don't know.
Probably.
But I'll tell you, Greg Abbott had nothing to do with anything that happened, okay?
And that doesn't help. That's not helpful. Politicians need to come together and solve this problem. And I personally feel and I've said this before, raising the age to buy these weapons would help a little bit, to 21 maybe, because all these shooters seem to be 18, 19 years old and maybe waiting, I think, a little bit of a period, like you said, and they really need to fortify these schools and impress on the teachers. When I used to teach a long time ago, we even had drills for this because, it was still after Columbine. And I had to keep my door locked all the time. And you can do your door. I was explaining to my dad because he was asking about it today. You can you turn the key a certain way. So the door's open from the inside always, but it's always locked from the outside.
That's
even
correct.
If you leave the room to go to the bathroom, that door
correct.
will lock automatically. You don't have to relock it. It's a special way to do these locks. So I would always have my room set to that mode, always. And I would tell my students the door is always locked. So if you leave, you have to knock to come back in. You have to be let in by me and only me. And I would tell my students, you're not allowed to get up and let anybody into this room. Only I am allowed to do that. And teachers, I don't know what happened. I'm not blaming the teachers, obviously. But when there is a safety protocol in place, it's there for a reason. You have to adhere to that protocol.
Yeah.
And when you don't, and apparently these teachers didn't, their door was open. I'm not blaming them, but you have to be careful. These protocols are no good if you don't use them, if you don't utilize them. And then the one person that opened the door, my dad said they opened it to go smoke a cigarette. Maybe they didn't know the school was on lockdown and it was just a horrible coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But during a lockdown, you don't go outside and go have a cigarette if that's what happened. These laws are in place to protect you, to protect the students. And I did read an article. They interviewed some of the police officers, and they said they were very frustrated because they were standing there. They wanted to go in, and they're blaming the guy who told them not to, and they were very upset. Well, let me tell you, that's a garbage excuse to me, because when you are standing there and there are little children calling 911, you tell that guy in charge to go F himself, and you go in there and you say, you know what? We're going in. You go over there and go away.
Yeah.
We're not going to listen to you. Somebody needs to step up and take charge that knows what the hell they're doing and tell the person so-called giving orders if they're not doing the right thing to go bye-bye, and we're going to handle this properly. I don't know this whole thing with sitting around and making a perimeter and waiting. I don't know how that solves any of these damn problems.
This police chief,
it's a stupid strategy.
The school police chief that ordered everyone not to go in there, he just got elected in the last week or so to the local city council too.
Oh
and I read that he received 70% of the vote.
Well, he should get booed, not Greg Abbott. He should be the one getting
this
booed.
guy's a politician. He very well could be responsible for the booing of Abbott. Now let me tell you, President Trump gave a speech at the NRA convention, and I watched it, and it was a beautiful speech.
It's very good.
It was the kind of speech that a president. It was united. It was a uniting speech. And he talked about what some of the real problems are and solutions. Mm-hmm. And it was a very responsible speech. And it's unfortunate that the media wouldn't carry it. But
and I like that he brought up that we gave billions of dollars to Ukraine when he said we could have used that money to strengthen the schools.
That's right.
And he's right about that.
I've talked to people that don't like Abbott in the last few days. In fact, on my live stream on YouTube Saturday, I take live calls on all my live streams on the radio, and I take live calls when I do live streams on YouTube on the weekends from my home studio. And someone called in. I talked to people on Friday and on Saturday blaming Abbott, and I asked them the same question. What has Governor Abbott done that resulted in this incident happening? And they don't have an answer. Governor Abbott did nothing that had anything to do with this. The police chief and other officers there did, and it was their inaction. And
I worry
that's a problem.
And I told Brian, I believe the main reason they're bringing in all these illegals to Texas, one of the main reasons is they want to flip Texas. And there's a lot of illegals there, millions, and I think eventually they want to try to flip it with these other voters.
Yeah.
And I think Greg Abbott might be in trouble
with this election. This time? You think?
I think this event, even though he has nothing to do with this, it'll be very useful for the Democrats to use against him. And I think he might be in trouble this time around.
I hope not. Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for your support. Thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. Your support helps us out a lot. It's greatly appreciated.
Very true.
And, our Patreon supporters, you do get commercial-free editions of each and every episode. And also, for example, I did a vlog going to Mar-a-Lago yesterday, and Patreon supporters, you had access to that before anyone else. I made that available yesterday to Patreon supporters before everyone else got to see it today. So there are perks and benefits to becoming a Patreon supporter. And one of those, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine. That's our dog Nina sneezing. Bless you, Nina. Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rich, Rick, and Nick. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. Click on the link to our Patreon page, and it will explain to you how you can become a Patreon supporter. I want to mention one last thing before we go. I made another vlog that's going to be available tomorrow for everyone. And I made a Memorial Day vlog. And what I did is I went to a very old cemetery down the street from Mar-a-Lago. And there are quite a few veterans of the Civil War there. And since this is Florida, they're Confederate veterans. And one thing about it, they're putting they were in the middle of doing it. They had not finished, but they put American flags up on the graves of veterans at our cemeteries. And
that's a nice thing to do.
It is a nice thing. And there are veterans there from the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, Vietnam was the most recent that I saw, of course, the First and Second World War as well. But I did a vlog showing...
Was this a military cemetery?
No, it's a regular public cemetery, but there's a lot of veterans that were buried there.
Yeah.
But what the vlog is about is the Confederate graves and some other things I found there, which will blow you away when you'll see right in the beginning of the vlog. But I just want to talk about this for a minute because it's important. There's American flags also put on the graves of Confederate soldiers, okay? Confederate soldiers were part of an insurrection against the United States government. Okay, they took up arms and joined an army and fought against the United States government, the Confederate States of America.
Yeah, that's a real insurrection.
And I'm not here debating the Civil War or anything because I know some people will say, "Well, it was states' rights. It was states' rights to own slaves." Okay, I mean, don't make any mistakes about it. But they took part in an insurrection, a violent insurrection against the United States, where over 500,000 Americans died because everyone on both sides died were Americans, and the Civil War was just a terrible, terrible thing. And the Civil War, actually, if you think about it, it began out of a division between Republicans and Democrats, which has never ended. We still have that division between Republicans and Democrats. And but the thing I just wanted to talk about real quickly about this is something that's missed on people. Putting the American flags on the graves of Confederate soldiers, Confederate veterans, is a tradition in this country. At Confederate graves throughout the United States, American flags are put on them. Now, back up until decades ago, up until the 50s and 60s, they probably put Confederate flags on them. They don't put Confederate, but it is policy and tradition in the United States to put American flags on the graves of all veterans, including veterans who fought for the Confederate States of America. And the reason that is a tradition in America is not just because they were Americans too. They took up arms against the United States. They took up arms against the United States Army. But it was important after the Civil War to bring the country together and say we are all Americans. Okay? And the left today, and that's a real insurrection, not what happened on January 6th. Exactly. Okay, the Civil War was a real, true insurrection, not January 6th. But the left just cannot unite as one people in one country. It's all about constant division. And I'm in this cemetery yesterday, and there's veterans of the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, the First and Second World War, and Vietnam. I didn't see anything more recent than Vietnam. It's an old cemetery, and they don't have a lot of space left. So I haven't seen they don't bury people there anymore. Probably it's full. But the Spanish-American War. One of the things, if you've ever studied American history involving the Spanish-American War, and when we took Puerto Rico and things away from Spain. And, San Juan Hill and Cuba and all that stuff. One positive aspect of the Spanish-American War that historians talk about quite often is it was the first war after the Civil War, and it united the country. Believe it or not, the Spanish-American War, you had people fighting together who were from the North and the South. There were I cannot remember the guy's name. There was Teddy Roosevelt's commanding officer in the Spanish-American War was a general who was a Confederate officer, okay? And now he was in the Union Army. And the Spanish-American War was a time when Teddy Roosevelt and others finally brought the country back together after the Civil War, which were still a lot of divisions going on in 1898.
Well, mainly because I think Lincoln, unlike Republicans of today, not that we did anything similar, but Lincoln basically absolved them of what they did and wanted to heal the country and pardoned everybody and was like, let's just
Well, that
move
happened
forward.
after he died because the Democrats killed, remember, President Lincoln was killed by a Democrat.
Right.
The Hollywood...
But you told me that he didn't persecute them.
He didn't have time. After, though, there was a pardoning and things like this after he died.
Oh, I thought he had done that.
And remember, John Wilkes Booth was not only a Democrat, he was the Hollywood left at the time. If that were today... And
be Johnny Depp,
and he jumped down on the stage. That's right, Johnny Depp, Alec Baldwin. Matt Damon. He was that big. But anyway,
his brothers were all actors too.
The Republicans after the Civil War said we're all Americans. We're all together as one.
Right. Let's unite. Let's come together. Move forward.
The Democrats have never been about uniting. They're always about division. That's why we had the Civil War, and you still see it today. Like we were talking about at the beginning.
That's how they remain in power: divide and conquer.
Well, we were talking about at the beginning about Pelosi's husband being arrested for DUI. Okay, which I consider to be a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
Drunk drivers are some of the worst because they kill totally innocent people that are just driving home.
They have no regard for the lives on the road that they're endangering.
And if they get into an accident, they kill people. They usually live because their body doesn't tense up during the accident because they're plastered.
It's true.
So I really have a serious dislike over with drunk drivers, as you should too. But anyway, if that were a Republican spouse, okay, or Hannity's spouse or Tucker Carlson's wife or something, or Melania, or if it was Ivanka's husband or Ivanka herself, the media would stop down even on a big holiday weekend. That's all they would be talking about. Nancy Pelosi's husband, it's going to be a speed bump that not many people are going to talk about because Democrats get a free pass and the left and the media, the Democrats and the media are all about division, so they blow way out of proportion when a Republican does something like this.
I hope somebody gets a chance to ask her about it, and I just can't wait to see her response.
I want to know if he was in the car alone, and you guys know what I mean by that.
She'll have some excuse, or I'm interested to see what she'll say about that.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope your Memorial Day weekend is going well. My name's Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.